Hey everybody, I'm Connor, that's Doug, and this is the Bethel School District Presents podcast, and we have an amazing show for you this week. We are on location inside the shop at Bethel Middle School. We are here with Leanne Pollard. She is a STEM and robotics teacher. And so Leanne, for those of us who do not know what that is, can you give us a quick rundown of robotics and STEM in middle school?
So our STEM courses and robotics courses that we offer at Bethel Middle School allows our students early access to STEM activities, hands-on, interactive curriculum to really spark their interest and see if they find something that they engage well with that might perhaps spark an interest in what they want to do in their future post-high school or even choose a career pathway in high school.
And we've got 4 students joining us today. 3 of them are in your robotics class. So can you give us a little rundown of what that class is all about? It sounds super fun. Are you actually building robots? What are you doing in there?
Right, so for our robotics class, we use the Spike Prime kit that's offered through LEGO Education. The curriculum that LEGO Education has built allows the students to use building blocks and drag and drop code like Scratch to develop the coding and program the robots. And so it's just something that is not intimidating, because a lot of times when they think robotics, especially girls, I would say tend to be like, that's not my thing. And I think it's really important for girls especially to have access early on to STEM, because growing up I didn't have that representation in my school. I mean, I didn't even have these kind of classes offered to me when I was in school. Women in STEM is just really underrepresented in general. If we look at the statistics, I'm sure we could see that even globally, women are underrepresented.
That's a very important topic, and I do want to touch more on that in a little bit, but let's bring the students into the conversation. Kaylee, Maya, and David are all in your robotics class. For each of you, and David, we'll start with you, what got you interested in robotics in the first place?
It's because, I'm very interested in IT, so much so I for Christmas I bought a kit that's primarily similar to what we deal with here at Bethel Middle, but it's more advanced over time. Instead of those Legos children safe motors, there's these motors called servos that you actually have to wire them to a breadboard. But other than that, I'm mostly interested in animatronics and robotics.
Awesome. And I love just some of the terms you're using already, breadboard and wiring. You're way past my skill set here when it comes to robotics. And I know, Leanne, even in our elementary schools, there is robotics clubs and programs where they also use, it might be the same Lego kit, or maybe what you're using is the next step up. But I love that students are getting involved in those type of STEM projects, even at an early age. Maya, let's kick it over to you. What got you interested in robotics in the first place?
I just like the idea of creating something that can someday be useful to the world, and it's really cool to see what you can build and do with robotics.
I love that. And I love that you guys get to do the different areas of whether it's coding or building the robot. There's a lot of room for a lot of students with different areas they're excited about to work on. And Kaylee, finally over to you in the robotics field. What got you interested in the class?
One of my friends had recommended it to me since they saw in my last trimester that I liked using my hands a lot, and I like robots.
Same here.
What's great is it gives students at all levels, no matter their knowledge, they can come in not knowing anything and develop a skill, develop knowledge about robotics.
So, Preston, you're not in the class this year, but last year I understand you were in the robotics class. What did you love about that class?
I like just building stuff. I've been building stuff for all my life. My grandpa was making engines for SUVs. My dad does housing. So I've been building ever since I could think. And doing this in school for an actual educational job just gets me really happy.
That is fantastic. We love that. And Leanne, back over to you. A little birdie told us that you were actually in the Navy. So once you got out, what drew you to education and specifically the STEM field?
Okay, so I think I need to start a little bit further back before I exited the Navy. I was in the Navy for 23 years. I was CB's construction electrician. So we're a small community in the U.S. Navy, and we're construction workers. I had no idea I wanted to be in STEM when I was in high school and when I left high school. I knew I wasn't quite ready for college. at the time. I took that well-known ASVAB test, and that ASVAB test, my head was saying, I want to be in this field. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to join the military for. But the ASVAB scores were leading me in the direction of being a construction electrician. That was where it said I should go. When I was in, it was hard because I joined in the 90s, and often I would be the only female on the job site. Or my very first duty station, I was the only female at my command. And so working in a quote-unquote man's world, when you don't have people who look like you, it's hard. And a lot of things told me I should leave. And I did at one point try to leave, and then for whatever reason I stayed. And I ended up staying till I was a chief petty officer in the Navy, which is E7. I remember one time at one of my duty stations, this was my second to last duty station, I had a female come up to me, and she was a petty officer 3rd class, so that's E4. And she was like, I have never met a female chief electrician. And I was like, what? And I never thought about it because I would see builder chiefs, I would see steel workers. There are bigger communities in the CBs. And so seeing females at that rank is unusual. And so it really didn't spark until she said something to me. Got out of the Navy, became a JROTC instructor for a while, but then found out that I could actually teach in something I learned and did for 23 years. And so I started teaching STEM 4 years ago. This is my 4th year teaching STEM. And I think it's important for them to see that a woman can do this. And it's one of those things, see yourself in me. If they can see that I've done it, then hopefully that gives others passion or like the courage to try it out.
I love that, and it's something you were looking for. You were looking for a role model, and there wasn't one, and it's because you had to be there to become that role model for that other CB that came up to you. I think that's fantastic, and now you're in charge of all these students here, and you are teaching them teamwork, you're teaching them collaboration, and I want to get over to the students again. Robotics is a field where teamwork and collaboration are essential. You can't just build a robot yourself by one person, send it out there and have it do all the cool things. It is really a group effort. So Kaylee, let's just start with you. Tell me about a time that your robotics team has faced a challenge and how you work together to overcome it.
I honestly don't know when we came across the challenge, because usually if my team would get stuck, I'd usually just help them get unstuck.
That's awesome. That's great teamwork right there. That's a good example. How about you, Maya? Anything come to mind?
When working with robotics, you can come across problems, and usually there's always someone that does understand it better than you, and there are some things that they don't understand too. So it really is good to have a team to help you. That way, like if you get stuck, if they get stuck, they can help you out.
Absolutely. And probably good to have people on the team from different age ranges and grades. And so, Preston, I'll kick it to you. Now in 8th grade, you have the experience of the last couple years in robotics. What comes to mind for you when I talk about challenges and teamwork?
Sometimes there are challenges when it comes to robotics. So me and our team for the competition, last year or so, we came across a couple problems, so we adjusted it based on the outcomes that it produced, kind of fixed them. And yeah, just gotta help the team out.
Awesome. Yeah, when the team succeeds, everybody succeeds. That's great.
So, Leanne, classes like this, robotics classes and a lot of the STEM classes are relatively new. I remember when I was a kid, I'm an old guy, but when I was a kid, a lot of this stuff wasn't available. Why are these classes important for students, robotics and just STEM in general?
These classes are important because it lays a foundation for them for learning how to problem solve early on. They're developing skills that'll be useful in life. Some of the skills that they develop will even help solve real-world problems. There's even studies that I have seen where they talk about having that early access as early as being in elementary school is really important. Just to know that they can do it, and it's not just watching someone else do it. I have students be like, I've never done that. And I'm like, really? I'm, mom of twins and a single mom of twins. And so they have to be pretty independent. There's things that I have them doing that my middle schoolers are doing, and it's a lot of reason is because I just can't do it all. But they're capable, and if you let them be capable and give them that independence to do it, there's really nothing they can't do.
Absolutely. And a lot of these things we would have had to wait until college or at least high school to learn back in the day. So it's great that these younger generations are getting this, like you said, at such a young age.
Yeah, and even the safe space in the classroom to be able to ask for help and to learn to ask for help. That's a skill I know many adults still have trouble being vulnerable that way and asking for help. And then you giving them that space, but then also giving them the independence of, you can do this. Here's some tools to help you, let's see your team succeed here.
It gives them those social skills I feel like they need in a professional environment as well. What I have seen a lot is where students want to work individually as well. They don't want to talk to somebody. They would go day to day, not talking to anybody and just doing their own work. I still struggle with some of the students being like that. Then I struggle with students not wanting to work with certain people because they, quote unquote, don't get along with them. And I explain to them, when you leave high school education, you often don't have that choice of who you work with. And you're going to have to learn, even with when your personalities conflict, you're going to have to learn to overcome those and be professional and be able to get the job done regardless.
Absolutely.
So
I love that you bring up post-high school, because I do have a question for all the students here. I know you're all in middle school still, 7th and 8th grade, so graduation is a few years off, but have you given any thought to what you want to do post-graduation? Maybe you want to go to college or go to trade school or work for Boeing. Anybody have any thoughts about that? We'll kick it over here and start with Kaylee.
What I want to do after high school is go to college and get a social worker's degree.
That's awesome. Wow. Very, very cool. Who in your life has inspired you to head in that direction, or is that something you just came up with?
My baby sister.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Very cool. And how about you, Maya?
So for a while, I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out of high school, and that was a really tough thing to think about for me. But after being in robotics and everything, I noticed that I really want to work in robotics. My dad is a mechanic for an airlines company, so I don't know, it was just really inspiring to have that and robotics, so I think I want to do something in that type of field.
That's awesome, and a lot of different ways you can go about getting into that field now, whether it's you go in the military like Ms. Pollard, because I'm sure robotics is just a growing field there. I know there's opportunities there. There's opportunities through college and trade school, so that's awesome. Very cool. David, over to you.
I don't know, but I know definitely for sure that I would really want either, what's it called, robotic engineering. Have you guys ever seen those Amiga GPT model robot animatronic android things? They replicate humans. So I want to be a part of robotic engineering because I view it very cool. And if not that, I'd rather be somewhere in IT, whether that be networking, software engineering, anything like that.
Well, we definitely need good people like you being friends with the robots before they take over the world. So
Yes.
I'm excited to hear that. Preston, how about you?
I just really want to build stuff. It doesn't have to be robots. It could just be all sorts of different things. Because building stuff is what makes me happy. And what makes me happy, if it doesn't make me happy, I don't really want to do it. I just want to have a good life.
That's a fantastic outlook. We're all striving for that, I think.
Oh, yes.
Leanne, you've actually spoken eloquently on this already about STEM fields being kind of male-dominated. What can we do to make these fields more inclusive and welcoming to everybody?
I think knowing that there is female representation out there, definitely not enough. One of the things we do is we have our annual Tech Art Fair at Spanaway Lake High School that's in February, and that's an opportunity where CTE shows all the classes that we offer in Bethel School District, not only middle school, but high school as well. I bring the robots out. I make them interactive. We bring, for our 8th grade curriculum, Project Lead the Way, we bring out stuff for that as well to show them what we offer. And we're seeing people in the community that we're seeing the young kids as well, the elementary kids coming in, and they're like, when can my kid take your class? And so we're trying to show them that it's there. I also take my students to Mesa Day at PLU. This will be my 3rd year taking them on this field trip to Pacific Lutheran University. And they participate in STEM challenges there. The idea is we want to reach as many students, kids, as we can and bring them out. And that's more focused towards the middle school and high school ages, but they compete in different competitions like how tall can you build a straw tower with 50 straws and some tape freestanding, and it's got to stand for 10 seconds. Or, how strong can you make your bridge? We give them design specs, and they only have up to 150 popsicles, and we put it on a load test and see how much pressure it takes till it cracks. And last year, one of my female students, she took the materials home. She even had her little sister stand on her bridge to see how much weight it could withstand. And she took first place at Mesa Day last year with her craft stick bridge. Women, we're able to do what a man can do. And I think a lot of it is just not having the representation there, letting these students know that they can do it. If they put their mind to it, just have the courage to try it, most likely they'll be successful.
Well, absolutely. Well said. And it's women like you that have been in leadership positions and are influencing the next generation. And then the opportunities, I think, that we have here in Bethel and that are now starting to exist more and more, where students can get inspired by folks like you and other students that are doing this work. So I think that's really awesome. And our last question is kind of a fun one. And we're actually going to start with you, Leanne, just to kick things off here. So if you could design your own robot, what would it do? What problems would it solve? It's all up to you.
So earlier I mentioned, I'm a mom and a single mom of twins. They're 9, so obviously they cannot drive yet. So right now, all the activities they're involved in, I think it would be logistics, getting them to and from places, and because literally I'm tapped at the end of the day trying to get them to and from all the places and things they want to do. And I get it that I don't have to do all these things. I don't have to provide all these things to my kids. But, for me, it's about them finding their why, what interests them, what makes them get up in the morning. And I think it's important to learn things early, what works for them, what interests them, and what doesn't interest them.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kick it over to the students here. So Kaylee, if you could design and build a robot to do anything in the world, what would it do?
I think it would take care of my baby sister.
Maya, what about you? What's your robot going to do?
I've been trying to think about that question, but all that really comes to mind is prosthetics. And I've seen people who have prosthetics and how sometimes they can be a little unreliable. So if anything, I'd like to make better, smoother, well-working prosthetics.
What an awesome idea, and so altruistic, not thinking of yourself at all. We love that. David, it sounds like you're probably already building a robot, so maybe you should tell us what your robot's going to do.
There's 3 things I would build, but I don't have the possibility to do it right now. Number one, so I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with Squid Game, right? I would want to build the Pink Soldier, and another one would be from the horror movie Megan, try to building Megan.
Oh no.
And then the third one would be this is actually the one I'm trying to build. It's from a horror game called Five Nights at Freddy's. It's the whole entire game is kind of like Chuck E. Cheese. You survive 5 nights at Chuck E. Cheese, but it's a bear. But one of the characters in the third game is called Springtrap. Springtrap is supposed to be a human trapped in a robotic suit. And I've been asking Miss Pollard to 3D print something. I sent her it on Gmail, but and it's supposed to be an eye mechanism, because I don't have a 3D printer at home because I'm broke. So I'm trying to make this eye mechanism, and I could use those servo motors that I told you guys about to manipulate them and make them move. That's the only one I could do, because I already have I made a makeshift cardboard box head for it. I need a jaw system.
So David, I got to say, all your robots scare me very much, but I wish you luck. So Preston, what about you? You're going to build a robot. What's the robot going to do?
If I were to make a robot, it would probably be a little robot spider thing that you could shoot from a projectile or something. It would be used by the police, and you would stick it on the cars of runaway criminals, and it could track them. kind of crawl around, like crawl into the windshield and get their data based on the face. That stuff.
Wow, so another useful one. I'm sure that if any police are listening, contact Preston for trademark information on that. And Doug, we're not letting you off the hook. If you could build a robot, what would it do?
Well, it's going to be tough to beat all of the great ideas that have already been said. I just need a robot that will make me some sourdough bread with butter on it when I get home, just toasted, and just a really nice carby way to get back home. So that's what I'm going to go with.
They actually have those. They're called toasters.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Leanne Pollard, STEM and robotics teacher here at Bethel Middle School. Thank you for your service to our country and to the district and your students here. You're doing amazing things, as seen by Kaylee, Maya, David, and Preston. Thank you guys all so much for taking time out of your busy school day to sit down with us.
Yes, thank you everyone here at Bethel Middle School for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this show. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. See you then.